Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, GMO Tuesday, GMO Tuesday. I just got off the radio with America Matters Media AM News. Of course, it was opening day yesterday. We kind of just chewed the fat and talked baseball today. However, I did kind of prep for GMO Tuesday, of course. Got to get a little plug in there. GMO Tuesday, GMO Tuesday. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, Mary's Heirloom Seeds down there in San Ramon, California. Of course, I believe that number is, I'll have it in just a minute here for you. Oh my goodness, I have too many pages of notes, ladies and gentlemen. Too many pages of notes to do. But we have in our arsenal today, we're going to be talking about how do I say that word, man? I broke it down here. Chlorpyrifos. It's been tied to brain stuff with children. It's been tied to, kind of retarded development in human fetus. And of course, Scott Pruitt green-lighted it this week, and that's the big news coming out of GMO Watch, GMO USA. MDG blogger, that's right, Marla Dawn Gates, Organic for Green Livings. You got it. She got a good blog. She's got a little information over there for you. Some good stuff going on. But I want to address something with everybody today. I want you all to think about this for just a minute. Has anybody seen the polls that said 90% of the people want GMO labeling? Has anybody seen any of the surveys that were done? We're taking the word of the Washington Compost, the New York Times, the failed New York Times, as our president calls them. We're taking the word of media outlets that kind of all fall into the fake news category because they twist things, that 90% of the people want something. I got to thinking about something here. I've never seen these polls. I've never seen any of this stuff. Have you seen any of this stuff? When I look at a tweet by Donald Trump, there's 200,000 retweets sometimes. And I want everybody to stop for just a minute and think about this. For just a minute. Donald Trump has presented an opportunity that has never, it's unprecedented, ever been done before. He has presented an opportunity. He talks to us every day on Twitter. Why don't we talk to him every day on Twitter? Everybody wants to bang Donald Trump. Instead of me and you arguing about Donald Trump because you don't like him and I think he might do something good, I'm using that as examples, because you think he has too much money and shouldn't be president, and I think he is okay, etc., etc. You guys get the point there. Instead of fighting and all this infighting about Donald Trump, I believe that, this is what I believe. Donald Trump, number one, is an American. It's kind of getting sketchy. Number two, I do think he does care about America and Americans, the citizens, we the people. How do we utilize that to our advantage, ladies and gentlemen? I want you to think about it for just a minute. He's on Twitter every day saying something. We get stuff every day. I probably 8, 9, 10, maybe up to 20 sometimes, depending on the articles I see and stuff. I will send a tweet to the real Donald J. Trump, to the POTUS, to the FDA, to the USDA, and the EPA, Scott Pruitt. I send it to all those people. Please get the poison out of our food. Have any of you seen the petitions that and I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying, has anybody ever seen the petitions they sign to go to Washington? What happens to those petitions? Nobody sees them. They're not in the public eye. How do we bring attention to something, ladies and gentlemen? We put it in the public eye. All these people, personally, and this is moi, I think this crap about the Russians is just that. It's crap. It belongs in the commode. That's where that conversation belongs. I think it's poppycock. I think it's a ruse. Just like Monsanto. Just like Monsanto is a ruse. Glyphosate is safe. That's a ruse. They've spent billions to generate hundreds of billions on that chemical to make the ruse. How do we stop it? I could be wrong, and it wouldn't be the first time, for crying out loud. I'm 60 years old. I could be wrong. But let's think about something for just a minute. 90% of the people in America claim, this is what the claims are. I'm not making this up. It was reported in the Times, the LA Times, the San Francisco Chronicle, all the major outlets, ABC, NBC, all these people report this and state this. 90% of Americans want proper food labeling. What would happen if those 90% of Americans started tweeting on Twitter to the President of the United States of America? Please get the poison out of our food. Kind of food for thought, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? I want you to think about that, Ronnie Cummings, with your 2 million membership. Zen Honeycutt with millions moms across America. The millions against Monsanto. Vani Hari with the Food Babe. How many people, how many fans do you people have that are anti-GMO? Think about it. Let's mount a campaign. Why are we not giving the president, the EPA, and all these other people, and this is a twofold thing, and I'll get to the second half of this in just a second. They can't help us if they don't know what we want. If we don't know what we want, they can't do a thing for us. Sorry about my teeth. They hurt today, so they kind of pop out now. Anyways, but let's think about this for just a minute. When somebody follows me on Twitter, and I just did it 7 times this morning, different people followed me. Thanks for the follow. Please join my campaign asking Donald Trump, Scott Pruitt, the USDA, and the FDA, please get the poison out of our food. What happens if, I don't know how many times it's got to hit the algorithm to trend on Twitter? I don't know. Maybe it's 100,000, maybe it's 200,000, maybe it's 1 million. But I'm telling you right now, if everybody got together on this subject, we could let the president know what is going on. What would happen if the president, and all these people want to sue the EPA, John F. Kennedy Jr., are you paying attention here? How many people are following you in these lawsuits on glyphosate? I heard there's 700 lawsuits against Monsanto on glyphosate right now. And so let's think about something for just a minute. How does an attorney defend his client? With evidence, with hard evidence. What happens if everybody starts tweeting, please get the poison out of our food? Just think about it for a minute. Not only does that, he can't ignore it. The press can't ignore it. It's out there in Cyberland, it's in writing, it's in black and white, as they say. They will not be able to ignore the fact people have spoken. That becomes evidence for attorneys. Look, this is what the people want. Now, we can go back and say, hey, I voted for you. You're supposed to represent me. Can you sue a politician for being deceptive? I believe that there is something called personal capacity. I believe that if 90% of Mark Amadei's constituents want proper food labeling, and he votes against, like he did, against his constituents who voted him into office to represent their best interest, I believe he can be tried in his personal capacity. I don't know. John F. Kennedy Jr., what do you think? You're the attorney. You're representing these people. Would something like this help the cause? And that's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody's doing anything wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that, I firmly believe in what Ronnie Cummings, Organic Consumers Association, is doing is a good thing. I believe what Zen Honeycutt, what Vani Hari, what everybody is doing out there. Every one of the agencies, the Ocean, John and Robert Ocean, with the Food Network Revolution. I mean, the list goes on. GMO, GM Watch, GMO USA, all these organizations, they're doing good. They want to do good. But I don't believe as a collective group of people that don't want poison in our food, I don't believe we're utilizing the tools available to us. And those tools, that said tool, ladies and gentlemen, is social media. They're censoring things. Facebook has algorithms that censors things. Twitter, they all do. Let's be real. They're trying to control the narrative. What happens if they can't? What happens if everybody talks over the narrative? And that's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. Let's think about it. Just put it in perspective. We'll talk over the narrative. Perhaps if 90% of the people were saying something in social media other than bitch and moaning in the conversation discussion threads, such as Discus, that's a discussion thread, and be real, Monsanto isn't stupid to the algorithm effect because they have their little shills in all these groups talking to counteract something, but they'll have 5 or 6 or 7 people gangbanging one comment to beat that comment out of the algorithm. What happens when you have 90%, ladies and gentlemen, think about it, 90% of 100 million, there's 325, 340 million people in the United States of America right now, for crying out loud. But what happens, we'll just take 100 million people. That's 90 million people want something. How can they ignore it? It's in black and white. It's in writing. It gets into the courts. The judges cannot ignore facts. They might try, but they can't. And that's something I just think we all need to think about. Some good things. We'll get off that horse. I'm kind of beating it now. So we're going to move on. 16 European countries have said no to new GMO corns. I have a question. Why do we need and why are we in need of new GMO corns? The last ones were supposed to feed the hungry people, use less pesticides, use less insecticides, give us higher yields. Lie. Not true. None of that is true. But why do we need, if that's the case, why do we need new GMO corn? We're not supposed to need them. Remember, I claim, and I have claimed for the last 5 years when I started looking into this and started seeing this, the GMO ruse is to sell glyphosate. I don't care what anybody says. When you profit on one, I don't know how many, Monsanto sells thousands of products. Their margin last year, $6.3 billion, is what the profits for Monsanto were last year. The profit for in that 6.3, 1.9 was glyphosate profit, ladies and gentlemen. Glyphosate profit, $1.9 billion of the 6.3. Something to think about. CCI, that is the Competition Committee of India, another good thing. They have said no, they have disavowed the merger between Bayer and Monsanto. They don't think it's a good, and that is Vandana Shiva. Good work there, young lady, great work. The GMO petition going around, they want GMO off the GMO apples. That's Arctic's, Arctic apple. Real quick, I've scheduled for something. I got to get going here, ladies and gentlemen, this morning. But McDonald's, Wendy's, and all these people are saying, we're not going to do GMO apples. We're not going to do GMO potatoes. Oh, isn't that really big of them? Since everything else on their menu has GMO ingredients in it, ladies and gentlemen. Something to think about when you go feed your kid McDonald's, Wendy's, and all this fast food stuff. I've quit eating them. I quit eating them a long time ago. It's poison. They're feeding you poison. Why they're telling you we're not going to use GMO potatoes or apples. Hey, catch my 11-part GMO potato series on my YouTube station, ladies and gentlemen. You can find it. 9 and 10 are the important ones. It's where I cooked and did some experimenting with them. A taste test. They taste like crap. Select Harvest was the name of the brand. A potato, 100% grown in Idaho. Yeah, right. They grow potatoes in Idaho. That's what they do. But they taste terrible. They're awful, awful tasting. And so as a chef, they are not preferred by cooks everywhere because this cook here doesn't prefer them and he doesn't recommend them. They taste awful and they don't cook right. There's not juice in them or anything like that. So remember, MDG Blogger, Organic for Green Living, ladies and gentlemen, Green Livings. She got some good stuff over there. Mary's Heirloom Seeds down in San Ramon, California. The Petaluma Seed Bank, ladies and gentlemen. The Baker Seed Company. They're out of Missouri, right up the road from Monsanto. Good companies. They all have organic stuff going on there. And they all have seed banks that are organic seed. Great products in their shops too. Mary's got some great stuff on her blog. Check her out. That's Mary's Heirloom Seeds, and she's got some really, really, really good specials going on this spring. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to cut it short. I do apologize. It's going to be a great day, folks. Let's all go have a good time. Let's all be safe out there.